So friends, a warm welcome to this new chapter, Study of Derivatives. We'll be covering the syllabus pertaining to CFA Level 1. We'll be starting with definition of derivatives, types of derivatives, trying to define the kinds of markets that are there, the market structures, and also the implications of different kinds of derivatives that we have in the markets. Right? So let's get on with it. First of all, before we start the study of derivatives in any meaningful terms, let us understand what is the meaning of a derivative. Let's say you and your friend are watching a football match between A and B. Now, in the middle of the match, you and your friends strike a deal. The deal is like this. You both put $100 on the table, right? And the deal is like this. If A wins, your friend takes the entire $200 that is on the table. And if B wins, you take the entire $200. Right? So, when we are talking about derivatives, this is basically a very simple kind of derivative, my friends. Because how a derivative is defined, let me tell you. Derivative is basically a financial instrument which derives its performance based on the performance of an underlying. Now, here what is the underlying? Here the underlying is the performance of the teams or whichever team wins. So, underlying here is winning, right? Underlying here is winning. Either team A wins or team B wins. Whichever team wins, the person on that side basically gets the entire amount. Now, whatever contract you two struck in this format, this is basically a derivative contract that we put 100 and 100, and based on the victory, the entire amount is given to the person who is on the side of the victorious team, right? This is a simple derivative, friends. Financial instrument which is deriving its performance based on an underlying, which is victory of either of the teams, A or B. Now, we will proceed a little further and take a few finance-oriented examples this time. Let's say a man named John has 1 kg of gold and he wants to get the best price by selling it. Now, let's say currently the price is $2,400. Currently means, let's say, T is equal to 0. Now, John thinks that in 3 months, T is equal to 3 months, the price of the gold will come down. It will come down. He is apprehensive. So, he wants to get the best price by striking a derivative contract. So he says, I am creating a contract where 3 months down the line, anybody can buy from me gold at $2,400 per ounce. This is per ounce, right? So this is the contract, friends. This is saying that at T is equal to 3 months, John will be delivering gold at $2,400 per ounce to any buyer. Buyer of what? Buyer of this contract. Right? So incidentally, this kind of a contract is called a forward contract. Okay? We'll know much more about forward contract and other kinds of derivatives in a very short while. But right now I'm just taking an example that this is how a deal is struck. This is basically a futuristic value that we are putting on some underlying, and based on that we are creating a financial instrument or a contract and we are buying and selling it. That is what a derivative is basically. Now let's say there is a stock XYZ, let's say. The price of it is right now, let's say, $20 per share, right? Now, an investor named Prakash, let's say, has a view on the price of this stock. Prakash thinks that in 3 months, the price of this stock will be $35. Now, based on this speculation, Prakash strikes a contract. He says, right now I am willing to sell a contract where I commit that I'll be buying the stock at $25 per share when 3 months are over. That is at t is equal to 3 months. And this contract I am willing to strike right now. Okay. Now let's say to this contract there is a buyer. A buyer who thinks that this stock will not go up till 25. In fact, he thinks that when 3 months are over, the stock price will be, let's say, $21. Right? There is a buyer who thinks like this, buyer of this contract, derivative contract. Now, he is thinking that at the end of 3 months, he is going to make a profit of 25 minus 21, that is $4 per share by getting into this contract. So both are basically getting into a contract because they have different views on the performance of the underlying. This contract is basically an overlay on the underlying performance of the stock price. This basically, the value of this derivative is derived by the performance of the stock, right? The stock price. So this is a derivative. Now we will formally define what is a derivative. So a derivative is a financial instrument that derives its performance based on the performance of an underlying. Now that underlying can be a stock, it can be a bond, it can be a commodity like gold, it can be something intangible like weather. So that's how derivatives can be designed.